everyone. Today we are going to learn about a couple of new concepts in Excel. One has to do with a particular kind of formula using a particular kind of cell reference or cell address called absolute references. And the other concept we're going to learn is about doing some kind of a page layout in Excel, where we design an Excel spreadsheet that still does calculations, but we can also lay it out for print. So including graphics, some titles, and keeping an eye on how it fits on the page. So to practice this, we're going to be creating this Excel spreadsheet for a sale flyer that would be in a thrift shop. So this sale flyer will list some of the kinds of products that the thrift shop sells, what their regular price is, and then what the price will be after a 25% discount. And then this flyer could be posted in the thrift shop, and customers would know what the sale price is. We're going to learn how to create this spreadsheet in Microsoft Excel. So we're going to start with a blank Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and we've been used to working in Microsoft Excel in this normal view where you can see your column letters, your row numbers, and all of your cells on the screen. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit using the zoom tool to make it a little bit bigger. Down in the lower right hand corner, we talked about this on our first Excel lesson. It has different views you can use to see your spreadsheet and different ways depending on what you need to see. Normal view is usually what we're in. But the next one over is the page layout view. And this view is useful because it will show you what actually will print on a piece of paper if you print it out. It will show you what the margins are, gives you a space for a header if you need a header, but it still has the Excel grid. It's just kind of separated from the column letters and row numbers because the margins are here, but essentially it's exactly the same thing. So in the normal view, you don't see the margins, they're hidden. They're still there if you try and print it. But page layout view will actually let you see where the margins are. And this will help you if you're aiming to get a document designed so that it actually fits on a printed page, which is what we're going to do with our thrift shop example. And you can see this is in page layout view, and you can see the margins here, and I know that this whole thing will print out on one piece of paper. So let's start by just putting in some data, just like we normally would in an Excel spreadsheet. And for this example, I'm going to leave a little bit of room in the spreadsheet because I'm going to put a border eventually around the whole outside edge. And I don't want my numbers to snug up against this, the left edge of the first cell. So I'm actually going to start, instead of in cell A1, I'm going to start a little bit further down. So we have our spring sale. And then over here, I'm going to have some categories for some items. So we're going to have some items, and then we're going to have the regular price. And I might need to, just like we did before, make our columns a little bit wider if we need to fit everything. And in the final spreadsheet, I have just the item, the regular price, and the discounted price. But this formula is actually a multi-step formula. I'm going to break things out a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see to start, and then we'll get it down to this eventually. So I'm going to have an extra column here just called the discount, and then the final discounted price is here. I will make my column a little bit wider so I can fit. And then I'm going to add some formatting to kind of match what I have so far. So my spring sale, I have a larger font, maybe even larger than that. And I made the text bold and blue. And then my column headings, I have a fill color, so the paint bucket was a light green. And I've made the headings bold, and I've centered them in their cells. We'll add some borders in a minute. But let's put some data in here first. So I have, I sell in the store some jeans, a blouse, t-shirts, dress pants, and a blazer. And you can go ahead and type this information in yourself in a spreadsheet. Feel free to pause the video as you watch and type in the information, and then you can start it again. You can rewind the video if you need to see all of the information that I'm typing. So the regular price for jeans is $15, so I'm just going to type 15 there. $10 for the blouse, $5 for the t-shirt, $20 for dress pants, and $25 for a blazer. And because these are all money, I can select them and then choose that currency formatting, the accounting number format, and it will add the dollars and cents for me. The discount, all of these for this spring sale are going to be 25% off. And 25% expressed as a decimal is 0.25. And this is because this number, it's going to be the same discount all the way down. So I'm just going to grab the fill handle and fill that all the way down. I'm just going to copy that number in every cell. This is a little repetitive, and I'm going to show you a different way to do it shortly. But also we need to format this as a percent. So in order to add the percent sign, we'll go up to the number formatting and choose the percent button. And it changes 0.25 to 25%. And now here's where I need a formula. So I have the regular price of jeans. The discount is 25%. So I have to put a formula here that takes 25% off of the regular price. This is a multi-step formula, so it's going to take a couple different parts to complete the calculation, but you still follow the same steps for making a basic formula that we learned in class. On the blue handout that I handed out that lists the steps for creating a basic formula. So you start with the equal sign, and then you click on a cell that needs to be in the equation, and then you type in the mathematical operator, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I'm going to say pause the video here and see if you can figure out the formula on your own to create the discounted price. And then come back and unpause the video and I'll show you how to build the formula. So pause your video now. All right, did you get a formula in there? Do you have a number that looks right? Let's see how we did. So I typed the equal sign first, and then I clicked on the regular price of jeans, and then I'm going to multiply that by the discount. So multiplication is the asterisk, so I'll type that in, and then I'll click the discount, which is 25%. But if I just hit enter now, that's going to give me a discounted price of $3.75. But that's not the discounted price. 25% off $15 is not $3.75. That would be a great bargain, but that's not it. This is the amount of the discount. So this is the amount that has to be subtracted from the regular price. So there has to be another part to this formula. So I'm going to click back on the formula, and so this is the discount. This is how much off is C6 times D6. And I'm going to subtract that from the regular price. So I'm going to click at the beginning, just after the equals, but before my first C6. And I'm going to click on C6 again and say minus. So this is basically saying the regular price minus the regular price times the discount. And when I hit enter, you'll see that the new discounted price is $11.25. That makes more sense. 25% off the jeans, $15 equals $11.25. So again, it's the regular price, which is in cell C6, minus the discount, which is the regular price times the discounted price, C6 times D6. And because this is the same formula that I'm going to use going down, I can just use that fill handle to click and drag it down, and it will copy that formula into all these cells. So you can see the discounted price is calculated, and it changes the formula relative to where how many rows down we went. So in this row we're calculating row 6. When you fill down, it calculates row 7, same calculation, row 8, row 9, and row 10. Which is great. This is exactly what we want to do it. However, I had to type my discount a whole bunch of times. I had to type it I had to have it repeated for every single item. And I think it would be nicer if I could have the discount up here at the top, kind of big. And what happens if during the spring sale we decide for the last 3 days of the sale we're going to up the discount to 40%? Well, I'd have to change that for every single item. And wouldn't it be nice to just be able to change it in one spot and having the recalculation happen? So let me show you how you can do that. So I'm going to clear out all of my formulas here. So I'm just going to select all of those and hit the delete key. It's just going to clear out everything. And I'm going to just select that column D, and I'm going to use the delete cells, and it's going to delete that whole discount column. So now I've got item, regular price, and I've got a place for the discounted price, but I need a spot up here to put my discount. So I'm going to add an extra row. I'm going to click on the row heading for row 3, and I'll hit the insert button to insert another row in here. And maybe I will insert just one more to give us a little bit of room. Make that a little smaller. And here. So I will put the discount, and here I'll put 0.25, and then I will change that to a percentage, 25%. And then I think in the original I made this filled in like a light blue. Oops, nope, not text color. Let's put that back. We'll do a fill color in a light blue. We'll make the font big and bold, so we'll do bold and we'll make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to do a little bit of other formatting here. I'm going to actually middle align this so it kind of floats in the middle. So middle align and centered, middle align and centered. So now it looks a little bit nicer. It's kind of floating in the middle of those cells. And maybe I'll do a border around the outside too. So I'll select these 2 cells. And under the border tool, I'll choose a thick outside border. There we go. So now my discount is really obvious. But I still want to use this number to calculate that discounted price. So let's do that again. We'll click in the cell where we want the discounted price. We'll hit the equal sign. And remember before we did the discounted price is the regular price minus the regular price again times the discount, which is up here now, 25%. So then I'll hit enter, and I have the same thing we had before, $11.25. Great. So now I'll just take that formula and I'll grab my fill handle and drag it down, and oh no! What happened? This isn't right. These numbers aren't correct. This number is the same as the regular price, and this is getting some kind of error. What happened? Think for a minute. What do you think happened in this case? So if you look at the individual formulas, when we fill down, it tries to change the formula relative to where we moved. So in this case, it's looking at row 8, but then the discount is up here in row 4. So when it tries to go down one row, it goes to row 9, but then the discount, it also goes down a row to row 5, and there's nothing in cell D5. So this relative reference, relative to how many rows down we moved, isn't working. For this number, the 25%, we need to make that what's called an absolute reference. And an absolute reference just means don't change where you're looking for this information when we fill or copy the cell. Don't move it down a row, don't move it over a column, always keep it the same, kind of stick it there. So I'm going to delete these incorrect formulas, and I'm going to change this formula just a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to make cell D4 an absolute reference, and to do that you just put a $ sign in front of each, the row and the column heading. So in front of the column, so just before the letter D, I type in a $sign. And just before the number 4, I type in a $sign. So our new formula is equals C8 minus C8 times $D, $4. This is an absolute reference, so when we fill this formula, it won't change where it's looking for the discount. It'll always look in cell D4. When I look at the $sign, it kind of looks like an S, so I kind of think reminds me stick. So stick on that cell and don't change it. It doesn't change the number. It's still $11.25 because that's still the result of taking 25% off. But now when we fill that formula down, now we get the correct discounted price. And you can see it changed C9, row 9, row 10, but it's still looking at cell D4 for that discounted price. And again, the beauty of that is now if the discount changes and I need to print this flyer again, I just have one place where I have to change the number. So I could make it 40%. And now it changes automatically all of these formulas to reflect the new discounted price. And that's the beauty of using an absolute reference. I'm going to switch it back to 25%. So if any of that was confusing, rewind the video, watch it again, try and build your formulas and fill it down and see if you can get your formulas to all match mine so that by using the absolute reference, it always looks in cell D4, but when you fill, it changes the row numbers of the other ones to match the row that you're on. Okay, let's finish up this flyer that we're going to print and hang in our pretend thrift store. So in the original flyer, I had an image here, and then I also had kind of a border around all of this so that it looked nice. So let's add the border first. So I'm just going to click and drag around this whole area, and then again I'm going to use that thick outside border, and it's going to put a border around the edge. And then I think also we'll turn all the borders on this grid of the discounted prices. So we'll just turn all borders on. And maybe we'll shift that over a little bit. There we go. So now we have a nice grid with our discount, and we've got a space for a picture. But now we've got to go find a picture. And I have a picture on our class website of a clothes rack that we're going to use. So let's go over there and I'll show you how to download that and then use it in your spreadsheet. All right, so I'm going to open up a web browser. This is our class website. It's just the sites.google.com/view/computerliteracy-delc. You have the website address or version of it on one of the handouts I gave you at the beginning of our class, but that's how you get there. Then go to our intermediate class, and then go to this lessons area. And you're going to find the lesson 5, Absolute References and Excel Page Layout. Click on that and it will bring up this Google Doc that actually has if you want to review this and see another video about how to create these formulas, you can watch a video at GCF Learn Free here. And there's also a handout with some written information. Sometimes it's helpful to have it printed out. You can feel free to open that up and print this handout. But you can see I have a button here to download the clothes image. So you just want to click on that and it will open up this JPEG image of a clothes rack. And then you should get a download button over here in the top. So you can click download. And it's going to go to my downloads folder, and that's fine. It's called Clothes Sale. And we'll just remember that it's in this PC in the downloads folder, and we're going to find it there. So I'll click save. So now it's saved in my downloads folder, and I'm going to switch back to Excel. And now I want to insert the image, and I want to plop it on my spreadsheet over here. So up in the ribbon, there is the Insert tab of the ribbon, and you can insert all sorts of things into a spreadsheet, but I'm going to choose Pictures. And it brings up my Pictures folder, but I know the one we want is in the Downloads folder, so I'm going to click Downloads. And I'm going to find the clothes sale image and click on that, and then click Insert. And it plops the image just in the middle of my spreadsheet. And I can click and drag it and position it and resize it as I want. So if I aim for the middle of the picture, I can click and drag it and move it in the space I left for it. And if I grab a corner, I can make the picture by clicking and dragging larger or smaller. So you can adjust the size however you want. And there we go. There's our final spreadsheet. When you print it, of course, the most of the grid, except where you've put borders in, won't show. So anywhere the borders are showing will be visible. So if I go to File and I choose Print, you can see in the print preview, this is how it will print. It will fit all on a piece of paper. You can see those margins are there. It will have this border around it, and it will have the discounted price printed out. But the beauty of this, I think, is because it's a spreadsheet, again, if I need to print another copy with a new discount, let's say I'll make it 35%, I change my discount, it recalculates, and then I can just print new signs for my shop, and everything's the same except the new discounted prices are there. So again, to review, this lesson was on absolute references and Excel page layout. So rather than using the normal view, we used the page layout view to make everything fit on a printed piece of paper, including the margins. We used some regular formatting like we were used to add some colors and borders. But the important lesson was those absolute references. Whenever we have a number that's in a constant location and we don't want formulas to change when copied, we always want it to look in that one cell, we can make it an absolute reference by adding dollar signs in front of the column letter and the row number. And when you fill that formula down, it will change other cell references, but it will leave that cell reference alone, and it will always look in that one cell for the information it needs to calculate. And that concludes our lesson on absolute references and Excel page layout.